Hello, this is Andre Walton. I'm a certified coach and business consultant. Today I'm presenting a case study of a small British company that went from near bankruptcy to a multi-million dollar innovative market leader. Andrew French is the owner of a small electronics business. For the size of his company, Andrew's business was highly automated, and when I started advising him, had considerable excess manufacturing capacity. We put together a program to take Andrew into the contract manufacturing business to utilize that excess capacity, which proved to be very successful. 2 years later, however, one of Andrew's larger clients started to have problems paying their bills. So Andrew called me to help him decide what course of action to take. After some research, we concluded that the client's financial problems were probably serious. We also concluded that they had little to no assets, and that the industry in general was largely unaware of the client's financial difficulties. The question now was to find out where Andrew was in the pecking order, if the company went into bankruptcy or receiverships. The client company was owned and run by two directors, one of whom, Clive, became Andrew's principal point of contact. Clive and Andrew developed a good working relationship, and on a couple of previous occasions when the client had not been able to pay its bills in a timely fashion, Andrew had always had frank and transparent conversations with Clive. The present situation appeared a lot more serious than previously, but Andrew preferred not to involve his legal team at this point. Andrew's options came down to riding it out and hope that the client's business would pick up and the bills would be paid, in which case he would collect pennies on the dollar if the company went under or failed to continue their business. The second option was to be proactive. But this option required Andrew to be prepared to take an active role in the company. This was the option that Andrew chose. Andrew and I met with the two directors and quickly dived into what was probably going to be a difficult conversation. I came prepared with the paperwork to take to the courthouse requesting summary judgment regarding the payment of Andrew's bills, should that be necessary. This would almost inevitably plunge the company into bankruptcy or receivership. This option was presented along with the second option, whereby both directors would relinquish ownership in the business. The business would be kept running, at least in the short term, and full employment would be maintained. With Andrew having manufactured their products and the sales prices were easily obtained, we had a good idea of the potential profitability of the business. By the deadline we had given them, both directors agreed with option 2, and the paperwork was drawn up. Fast forwarding a few months, Andrew was now in the CEO's position of the business and had moved the manufacturing into the company's premises. This was convenient to him because his premises were in fact overstretched, and the client's premises had been underutilized. Only Clive remained of the two original directors. The other was not willing to relinquish control of the finances of the business and had resigned. I and other members of my team were working almost full-time for several weeks, generating up-to-date sales materials, a new website, and a social media presence. The company name was also being changed to reflect the focus of the business, which was the manufacture of industrial lighting control equipment. In the UK and a lot of the EU, such equipment is a legal requirement. My role coaching Andrew's employees continued, along with designing a new extended warranty program, which improved both revenue and margin by over 30%. Sales for this year are projected to be around $4.5 million. Let's hear what Andrew has to say.
I'm Andrew French. I'm director of a medium-sized lighting controls business in the United Kingdom. We're an SME. We turn over about $4 million. Andre first got involved when I became a director in 2014 and helped me and helped other members of the company move from a loss-making business with very poor both customer and workforce service into business with top customer service and a long and loyal workforce. We have a very low turnover of staff. And we've done that with Andre's help, with him giving me advice on staff leadership, staff mentoring, and an awful lot of advice on things in our sales side where we weren't doing proper sales training and we were missing opportunities to make sales that we were definitely not making.
Somewhere around the fourth year that I was working with Andrew and Lighting Controls, I was working on renewing their strategic plan. That strategic planning is something I always introduce into my working consultancy. And in Andrew's case, the company had been developing new products and new services. And as a result of that, they had been achieving the original goal, in fact, more than achieving their original goal, which was of the order of 35% growth per annum. It looked to me as if that was going to be a little bit more difficult to achieve in the upcoming 5 years, because they were limited really by new products because of customer demand and because their existing products were doing the job. So there were adjustments, there were smaller adjustments to those products and relatively minor new products that would come out. So we had a brainstorming session, and I proposed the idea that we had a 3-tier extended warranty program. There were two reasons why I thought this was a good idea. One was that we had a huge customer base for installed installations from the original company and from the since Andrew had taken over Lighting Controls. Also, Andrew had been doing the manufacture of this product since almost the very beginning that the original company existed. So he knew that the products were well built and very reliable. He was also the one that got to see the products that got returned or had to be repaired or anything else. So the cost of ownership in terms of maintenance was relatively small. However, the standard warranty ran out after a year. And so we introduced a 3-tier, this was silver, gold and platinum warranty program. And the reason for 3 tiers is that there was a perceived risk in some situations that was much greater than others for the control system not functioning. For instance, there was a casino which had been renovated and they had installed lighting controls equipment. And of course the perception, even though it's not really the reality, of a light control failure in a casino is a fairly sort of serious, horrific concept. The reality is that this equipment is fail-safe, so if it fails, all the lights will come on in that zone to full brightness. The casino wouldn't in fact be plunged into darkness, but their perception was that this was a very serious event, and so as far as they were concerned, that was they were definitely in the market for the top tier, the platinum extended warranty program. And that program anyway included an annual maintenance package. They had the latest equipment installed for them under that program, which enabled the maintenance checks to be done remotely. They had free software updates and various other things. And then right down to the lowest risk, which was the kind of system that might be installed in a car park or in office facilities that were only essentially used during daylight time anyway, and that kind of thing. So, but the number of potential customers for this, of course, was absolutely huge by the company standards. The interesting thing about this process was that within about 2 years, it was contributing over 35 to 40% of their annual revenue. but with a profit margin of over 70%. In fact, for some of the tiers it was closer to 90%. So it was making a dramatic difference to the profitability of the company. Let's go back and hear what Andrew has to say about it.
A lot of pushback from the salespeople, or a lack of interest in any kind of maintenance program, and Andre formed that, and that's now the most profitable part of our business. 1 month of our maintenance program now would pay everything we paid for Andre, and our maintenance program runs with a 70% gross profit. So we would have made, out of his influence on that alone, we would have made a great deal of money. It's quite a lonely business being a director of a company, even when you've got 2 other directors, particularly if you're the one who's always expected to come up with the ideas, which is my task in life, particularly the newer ideas on the financial ideas. And it's I always know I've got Andre. I can contact him even now, even though he's no longer regularly advising Lighting Controls. I can contact him and we can talk things over. Had we not engaged Andre to help us, we would not have been so successful and would not be as happy in the business as we are now.
Thank you for watching this video. My relationship with Andrew and Lighting Controls continues on an occasional basis. I moved away from Europe to live in the US full time, and at that point I found alternative sources of business consulting for Andrew. I am called in occasionally if Andrew wishes to bounce ideas off me, and it's just a wonderful experience seeing how successful that company has become and how happy and contented the employees are in their work. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.